want to thank you all for being here at this last hour. I promise to be quick, and I hope you can take some home message with some enlightening story. I'll be focusing on the new frontier of therapeutic intervention for retina disease. I'm a pharmaceutical consultant to help senior leader company to solve problems. These are my financial disclosure. In the retina, there are two biggest problems that are spanning on the two extreme ends. One is unwanted cell growth proliferation, and like tumor vascularization, CMV, PVR, PDR, fibrosis, and inflammatory cell proliferation. The other ends will be cell death, necrosis, or apoptosis, neurodegeneration, such as AMD, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy, retinitis pigmentosa, and everything else will fall between these two extreme lands. Over the past 20 years, the scientific advances help us to gain in-depth understanding of disease pathological entity that are involving with the retina, which empower us to better to manage the retina disease and better shape the future of therapeutic intervention for retina. In the next 20 minutes, I will be sharing with you some of the most exciting happenings in the retina and the glaucoma disease management for the back of the eye. In the retina, there are three major advancements we can't miss. First, the new appreciation of dry AMD subclinical phenotype that help us to gain insight of matchmaking for clinical trial for patient recruitment. Number two, the consequence of long-term anti-VEGF therapy. Number three, the emergent ocular drug delivery innovation, in particular biotherapeutic gene delivery arena. Glaucoma disease management has shifted from paradigm from simple IOP reduction to long-term IOP stability and neuroprotection through IOP-independent risk factor. In the surgical front, minimally invasive glaucoma surgery along with phaco is shifting the paradigm of early-stage glaucoma disease management therapeutic algorithm for which surgery can be as the first-line therapy. We all know macula is in charge of the most precious site in our life. Macular edema is the most common pathological entity involving with a large spectrum of significant retina disease, such as diabetic macular edema, uveitic macular edema, CRVO, BRVO, cystic macular edema, idiopathic macular edema. When disease progresses to advanced stage, there are two. The game ends with neuronal cell loss, namely in the retina, RGC and photoreceptor cell loss. Now we have a new therapeutic intervention, retinal prosthesis, and a stem cell transplant that is offer a new hope to those visual devastating and disease pathological empowerment. Let's open the first chapter, AMD, which is the chapter of AMD. In the textbook, drusen is the hallmark of AMD, dry AMD, early stage AMD diagnosis. What if patients don't have drusen? Do they have AMD? Recent study has revealed there are 4 significant predominant clinical subphenotypes that are associated with AMD pathological root cause. One, RPE cell loss and atrophy, which is a conventional theory of AMD root cause. And then number 2, photoreceptor, particular cone photoreceptor, can be the initial primary trigger for AMD. Bruch's membrane, number 3, Bruch's membrane aging and thickening is considered the rate limit of AMD root cause, according to Professor John Marshall's research. The most number 4 hidden devil is choroid ischemia. The fenestrated choroid can suffer from atrophy and occlusion, which is deprived all the nutrients supplied to the photoreceptor. That's the reason for AMD. With the huge success of anti-VEGF therapy for wet AMD, the field has shifted focus to address the root causes of early-stage dry AMD and based on pathway-based therapeutic strategy from RPE transplant, antioxidative target, A2E reduction, and the para-inflammation control, for which complement factor is the hallmark and the chapter that show a great promise. Genetic and Roche is developing complement factor D is in clinical 3, phase 3 clinical trial. The new rising star, perhaps, is a 2RT laser Brooks membrane rejuvenation that has shown great promise in diabetic in juicing resolution in early stage. When disease progresses to the end stage and advanced stage, there are two phases are waiting. One becomes a desert called atrophy, geographic atrophy. The other will be muddy with a neovascularization leakage, which we call wet AMD. The emergent anti-VEGF therapy is changing the natural course of a wet AMD pathological process from wet type turning into dry type. Look at this patient after 2 years Lucentis therapy. You can see a large, enlarged, well-demarcated RPE loss. When the RPE lost, now we have a new hope to offer solution. Advanced cell technology, they also call Octa Therapeutic, is developing the first human embryonic derived RPE cell transplant, which offers a new solution for such a pandemic AMD disease process. I had the privilege to serve as a medical consultant on this cutting-edge cell therapy in Boston. There's another problem of long-term anti-VEGF therapy. After 4 years Lucentis treatment, 1/3 patient will go blind, or at least the vision begin to deteriorate due to the subretinal subfovea, in particular, scar formation. And now Ophthaltech is pioneering the 3rd generation wet AMD therapeutic strategy with a focus on anti-PDGF therapy in combination with Lucentis to prevent the subretinal scar formation, inflammatory scar formation. Let's switch the gear, talk about glaucoma. The president of American Glaucoma Society, Kadav Singh in Stanford, once pointed out, some glaucoma patients, no matter how you treat them, what you treat them, they still go blind. Some, even you don't treat them, they still have vision. This is telling an ugly truth that IOP-independent risk factor is playing the role, is killing the ganglion cell. You see, this is a very busy slide. There are multiple initial signaling pathway and dozens of molecules that are and multiple cellular components, all are attributing to the ganglion cell death, atrophic death, or apoptosis. And one noted rising theory is blood vascular abnormality, ischemic reperfusion. I had a very good conversation lately with the chair of University of Indiana, Dr. Louis Cantun, and his colleague Alan Harris, who thinks these are the very important area in both neuroprotection through neurovascular modulation for glaucoma and retina disease management. I will talk about it later. When we talk about glaucoma, we think about the brain, that is the closest neighbor. And over the past decades, neuroprotection has been the central dogma. In particular, early 90s, there are various neuroprotection trials, including NT3, NT4, CNTF, BDNF, and NGF has been exhausted, tested in preclinical retinal degeneration model, as well as in human condition, RP, AMD. So far, we haven't seen any hope yet, any success. Looking forward, in the 21st century, I believe neuroprotection has to take a step forward, and through regenerative approach to be proactive to address the root causes associated with neuronal cell death, in this case, ganglion cell death. Currently, there are 3 compounds in the clinical arena being investigated: brimonidine, vascular, and adenosine-based therapy, which is a trabodinosine that is developing by Innotech Pharmaceutical. I'm a consultant for Innotech at the moment. The problem with brimonidine is the drug is vascular constrictive. If we think about the devil of choroid ischemia, you may understand why brimonidine trial failed in AMD, RP, and other retinal degenerative clinical trial by Allergan. Lately, they published data. Rescular is a very unique BK channel activator, offers a new solution for vascular modulation through, they have NO effect, Currently, Artec we know is conducting the phase 3 clinical trial for retinitis pigmentosa. We believe that they are able to improve the vascular choroid, the vascular circulation, in particular to rescue photoreceptor from dying due to genetic problems. And I used to be the consultant for Sucampo. The newest family, perhaps, is a trabidinosin, adenosine A1, adenosine-based therapy through A1 receptor. They are marching through a phase 3 clinical trial for IOP lowering target, and at the same time also show great promise in the preclinical arena. The drug is able to rescue ganglion cell from ischemic reperfusion damage in preclinical model. The drug is only working on RGC, photoreceptor of note. I want to tell you a piece of a story. Have you ever thought why most advanced glaucoma patient eventually has to go to OR for trabeculectomy and tube shunt surgery, those invasive surgery? If we think trabecular meshwork is a sponge and elastic spring or rubber, with the aging, they become very rigid, and the extracellular matrix around the trabecular meshwork become very thickening. A couple of years ago, the CEO of Inotech presented at Ophthalmic Innovation showed the early clinical trial, phase 2, a patient can, the switch from BID to QD. He told me the drug could be a QD drug. I didn't pay much attention. Lately, when the 2RT on DME and the AMD clinical trial, the first London trial on Brooks membrane rejuvenation had brought me to my attention. This helped me to put all the things together. The Professor John Marshall many years ago did a very elegant study suggesting that MMP treatment is able to return the Brooks membrane hydrocarbon. Is the first gap is bridging from late stage preclinical to early stage clinical. Most drugs failed, 60% failed either at efficacy or safety. The second gap is from early stage to late stage, phase 3 pivotal and post-marketing, and the 30%, they all fail either efficacy and safety. Both are the bottleneck. In regenerative medicine, stem cell therapy, we are not talking about bridging the gap. I call it bridging the knowledge gulf. It's at its very early infancy, we suffer from very steep learning curve and regulatory clinical development. And to give you an example, in the retina, we have all the surgery tools, instruments, the cutters, and the lasers. These are easy to understand and reachable, visible, and we are dealing them every day when you are a boy or a girl in the kitchen, in the garage. You can see the 4-6% of the cutters. But how many ophthalmic surgeons have seen the stem cell grow under the microscope? How many know when, if they are sick, or like a baby, when they cry, do you know if they are sick or they're hungry, or they are just, just crying, whatever. So that's a huge gulf. You give them a tube of cell, and the physician, they can do excellent surgery, but they don't know exactly when they behave and what they are going to behave in the disease setting. They have to fight with the desert, fight with the fibrosis, fight with all the inflammatory attack. I had the privilege to work for ACT, which has deepened my understanding of this huge knowledge gulf. This is my last slide. Has accumulated 20 years of my experience. I want to share with you some of the secret sauce of therapeutic product development. And most of the people here are academic. Academic research is a planting and a cultivating garden. You have endless questions to answer, and you can do anything on the ground zero, but you only at the ground zero, one floor. Product development is building a pyramid. It's not like unlocking a mystery, a black box. There are only 2 questions you must answer at every step forward. Does it work? Is it safe? Start from day one, and the early stage, you have a molecule and a product planning, initiation. We talk about the precision match. The disease pathologic entity has to match exactly the molecular pathological target of your drug or protein, gene, or whatever the medicine you are going to test it. Number 2, when you find the link, a match, you know what the patient will respond to treatment. Dose and delivery on target are the key tactics. Number 3, move up to mid late stage. And the programmatic strategy is the king. Why? The conventional pathway, you do clinical trial after phase 3, you put everything, findings in your label, in your NDA filing, and then go to marketing and build a strategy. This has not been very effective. A lot of drug pull off, and a lot of drug does not behave as what we, in real world does not, in real world the drug does not behave as what you see in the pivotal trial. So before you enroll in the phase 3 patient, you have to have a box, have a medical strategy, designing what exactly subphenotypic patient population may respond, and then you put those patients on trial. If they work, they are on the label. They don't work, they're out of the label. That's very simple. Well, these are my last slides, have some inspiration figure I would like to share with you. Investigate a drug, a new drug, is a lot of challenging and more expensive and time-consuming than investigate a murder like Sherlock Holmes. You need to have the best talent in order to make things happen. And now I suggest you have a nice martini with James Bond, who consider the best and the secret. Thank you so very much for your time and attention at this last hour. It's very rewarding and to be here. And thank you all. I welcome for questions and discussions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tina, for a really comprehensive overview of the field of retina therapeutics.